Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Sweden, but we're going to head a little bit north for this review. We're going to go out to the west of Stockholm towards Örebro and then a little bit north to a small town called Nora, which happens to be home to one of the most sought after Swedish breweries at the moment. So we're going to have a look at another beer from Apex Brewing Company, who are doing some very nice things when it comes to the New England hazy style IPA category, and we're going to have a look at their latest offering through the Lokal Småskaligt assortment. This one was released on the 1st of July 2020. So this particular beer is called the Replicant Double Ipa. It comes in at 8% ABV, and as I've kind of been hinting to you, this one is another New England hazy type IPA, this one. So yeah, very curious to see how this one turns out, and as always I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this beer. It feels like a little while since I reviewed a beer from Apex. I think back in May I reviewed 5 different beers from them: the Asmodeus, the Terminus, the Culmination, the Scarab, and I forget what the other one was, but all of those were very nice. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting back to trying another one, and this one apparently is very highly rated. So yeah, hopefully this turns out to be another good Apex beer, and I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this one. And this is a brewery that I would highly recommend you check out if you are particularly interested in Swedish beers, because these guys are doing some awesome stuff just now. So yeah, let's see how we get on then. As always with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Apex Brewing before. I think this might be review number 12 or so that I've done from these guys, and no doubt there will be more in the near future. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, province, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Apex Brewing Company then, on to my brewery notes. So as I've told you already, Apex Brewing Company are based in Nora, just to the north of Örebro, which is a kind of medium-sized city, I guess you could say, out to the west of Stockholm. And this company was founded back in 2017 by Daniel Gatchitz and Niklas Lundgren. Both of these guys are musicians, with Niklas having played in the band 59 Times the Pain, while Daniel played in Voice of a Generation. Both kind of punk type bands, if I remember correctly. I need to listen to some of their music actually. That's something I've still not done after all these Apex reviews, so I really need to get on that. But Daniel and Niklas are responsible for the brewing operations, but there are a few others involved in the company as well. So this is Leif Karlsson, Ola Eriksson and Roger Hjelm. So these guys started off as a very kind of small operation, just with a 500 litre brew kit and 6 fermentation tanks. They have scaled up since then though, but in the early days they were just selling their beers in the local area, basically Örebro County from what I understand, before they got them into Systembolaget, and this got them distributed nationwide. In 2018 they produced around 35,000 litres of beer with about 25 different varieties, all of which were pretty much, I think pretty much all of them, I'm not sure if there were any exceptions, but they were all New England IPAs as far as I can tell. And over 2019 they were planning to reach 100,000 litres of beer, and I think they produced about 120,000 actually at the end of it, if I remember correctly, in the beernews.se article. But as of July 2020, when I'm reviewing this beer for you, they've produced 85 different varieties so far, which is pretty damn impressive I have to say. And at the moment they're working through an expansion plan, but I think that might have gone on hold because of the whole kind of COVID-19 situation thing. But they do have a new distribution deal with Brill from what I understand, so this is helping them get their beers a little bit further afield throughout the continent and things like that. I know some of these beers have made it over to England because the English beer tubers have been reviewing some of them, and I think they are getting to a few other countries in different places as well. But yeah, always cool to try new beers from Apex. They seem to be releasing a new IPA at least, at least one, maybe two every month. I think this month it was only the one that they released through Systembolaget, but yeah, this one is supposed to be a little bit of a beast, like I say. But yeah, a very, very well respected Swedish brewer at the moment for how new they are. If you consider how new they are, the quality of the beers that these guys are putting out is pretty damn crazy, and they do seem to have specialised in this New England Hazy IPA category. I would love to see these guys have a go at a black IPA and a West Coast IPA, but I'm not sure if that's on the cards or not. I guess we'll just need to wait and see. But yeah, that's all I can really tell you about Apex Brewing Company for the moment. If you want to learn more, you can check out the brewery website, and you can follow them on Facebook, Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all the different beers that they've done. So yeah, let's get on and actually have a taste of this one then. So as I told you earlier, this one is an 8% New England Double IPA. It's hopped with Simcoe, Citra and Mosaic, and it's also got a bit of Simcoe Cryo in it from what I understand, where they extract all the oils and things like that. So Simcoe's going to give you some lovely kind of soft passion fruit, Citra's going to give you your mangoes and your wee complexities, and then Mosaic's going to give you a lovely tangerine orange thing. The malt base in this one is Maris Otter Extra Pale, wheat malts and puffed oats, and also a little bit of chipped malt, and apparently chipped malt is a very lightly malted barley, this one, so I'm really curious to see what effect this has on the beer. And I believe the yeast that's used in this one is one of the WLP ones. I think one of the London Fogs, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it should be a really interesting beer, this one. Pretty impressive hop bill on it, you know, quite a sort of old school one if you like. But yeah, I think it will turn out quite nicely. But as I was kind of hinting at earlier, the story behind this particular beer itself is a little bit interesting as well. So apparently there was a version of this beer brewed for the Mikkeller Beer Club back in 2018 when the brewery was just starting. It went down an absolute storm, but unfortunately the brewery lost their they lost the brew sheet, and you know, they kind of spent a bit of time trying to recreate this beer, if you like, and they think that they've got pretty close with this one. But the beer that they recreated, the one with the baboon on it, this one is basically a double IPA version of that beer that they managed to recreate. And the name Replicant, of course, is a reference to Blade Runner. The replicants were the sort of genetically modified humans, if you can call them that. So yeah, Replicant, named after the Blade Runner films, which I have to say are pretty damn good. But yeah, let's get on and taste this one then. I'll just let you have a little quick look at the artwork of this before we open it up. As you always get with Apex, you get this sort of Illuminati style artwork with it. Each of them tend to have a different animal on the top of the thing there. But yeah, Apex Brewing Company, there you can see the sort of graffiti style artwork on the side of the can there. Replicant Double IPA, music, people and beer, obviously, as I say, with Daniel and Nicholas having a significant music background, as do the guys over at Odd Island near Gothenburg, both members of In Flames. There's quite a few breweries in Sweden founded by musicians actually. But yeah, nicely presented beer, this one, quite typical in terms of artwork if you remember the other beers from this company. But yeah, let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting then. In terms of price, I think I paid maybe 55 Swedish kroners for this one, so that is about, you know, £4.50, €5.50, something like that. But yeah, that's one of the great things about Systembolaget. So yeah, about $5.50 for this can. So when you consider what the beer is, you know, a New England Double IPA 8%, I think $5.50 for a can of this, a 440 can, is pretty damn reasonable, I have to say. So yeah, one of the great things about the Swedish monopoly, if you like. You'll always get very good quality beers from the Swedish breweries at very good prices. So yeah, as you can see and as you would expect from this one, it's poured a lovely, I would say that this is quite a bright yellow colour, this one, to be honest with you. Yeah, not the brightest yellow I've come across, in fairness, but definitely fairly bright in its yellowness, if you can call it that. But yeah, you can see this one has poured with a nice 2/3 finger head. That's going to fade away quite quickly to be a very thin foamy layer. I would describe the head as being a little bit bumpy, but there's one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass. There's a few little ones going up towards the bottom of the head there, and you know, overall it does look pretty nice actually, and pretty much what you would expect from a New England double. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see this one, it does have a good element of haziness to it, a lot of haze to it, but you know, it's not the soupiest and kind of thickest looking one that you're going to come across in the New England category. But that's not to say it's not going to be a good beer. We know this brewery are very talented in this this particular category. But yeah, not the palest of yellow beers that I've come across, and not the darkest, kind of sitting somewhere in the middle with that, but a lovely yellow New England IPA, this one, with a good bit of haze, which is what you expect. So nothing really surprising about this beer in terms of the appearance of it. Let's have a closer look at that aroma then and see how we go on. I have to say, when you open up the can, you get that lovely kind of soft tropically note from the Simcoe in this one. So let's look at it a bit more closely. Ooh, this is quite interesting, I have to say. This one for me, it's, as soon as you smell this one, it has that kind of almost farmhousey type thing to it. You get that sort of woody, earthy, kind of vegetally type thing coming out of this beer, and you know, usually it's a result of the yeast that they use in these beers, and it can also be some of the malts as well. So with this one, definitely you're getting a little bit of that kind of almost alchemist brewing company sort of farmhousey type character at this one. I do remember getting that out of some of the other Apex beers, but I don't remember it being quite as prominent as this. But in fairness, like I say, it has been about 2 months since I've had one of the Apex Brewing beers, so you know, probably it could well just be it's gone out of my head. But yeah, definitely straight away with this one, the first thing you're going to notice with the aroma of this beer is that farmhouse, that kind of farmhousey, vegetally, herbally kind of thing there. So there's a little bit of woodiness in the yeasty side of the beer. Definitely a bit of that kind of herbally, vegetally sort of thing, like I was saying. A few little bit of a, you know, a few bits of a kind of more bitey, wheaty kind of quality out of it. Yeah, definitely a bit more of a kind of bitey, wheaty sort of thing. You can pick up a little bit of the oaty creaminess as well, particularly towards the front of the nose. And I would say that also when you take it in a little bit more deeply, there is a wee bit of a kind of biscuity quality in there, and that'll be the Maris Otter that's giving you that. It's a lovely English malt variety, that, actually. Really enjoy a bit of Maris Otter. It was very, very popular when I was first getting into craft beer, you know, sort of 2013-ish. There was a hell of a lot of breweries using Maris Otter. You know, Brewdog in Aberdeen back in the day, they were using Maris Otter all over the place. Lovely malt to use in IPAs, and it seems to be making a bit of a comeback in a number of cases. But yeah, the aroma coming out of the malty, yeasty side of things there is very, very nice. So yeah, a little bit of a white bready base to it. You get those kind of towards the kind of back of the nose, if you like. You get the farmhousey, doughy, yeasty, kind of woody, sort of vegetally herbal sort of things in there. There's a whole host of things coming out from the yeasty side of the beer. But yeah, definitely a bit of bitey wheatiness in there, a little bit of a kind of oaty creaminess as well, and you can get some nice sort of McVitie's digestive biscuit qualities in the aroma as well. But I would say that the more and more you smell the beer, the more it does kind of smoothen out a little bit. It seems that the sort of farmhousey, yeasty side of thing dies down a little bit the more that you smell of the beer and the more your nose adjusts to it. But I always remember with these beers that you get that in the aroma, but it doesn't come out so much in the flavour actually. But yeah, I like how the aroma of this one goes together. On the green side of the hops, you know, I think this one, it's got a little touch of earthiness in it, which will be from the Mosaic. You get a good bit of floral aromaticity. All of the hops in this are fairly high alpha acid. You know, you've got about 11-12% from the Simcoe, a bit of about 13, kind of 14% from the Citra, and you know, you've got 14, I think like closer to 14 from the Mosaic as well. So all big hop varieties in this one, but yeah, I think there's a good bit of grassiness kind of coming out of this beer as well. I don't think the floral notes are overly prominent in this one, to be honest. So yeah, it's got a little bit of earthiness in there, as I say, from the Mosaic. Good little bit of floral character as well, but I think the grassiness, the earthiness and the yeastiness kind of work together, and it leans more towards the grassy side of things on the green side of the hops. But yeah, if you take it in a bit more deeply, as I say, you will get a little bit more floral aromaticity out of it. But yeah, on the fruity side of things, it is kind of what you'd expect You've got a lovely kind of soft passion fruity quality to this one, which is that's the Simcoe, and if they're using cryo Simcoe as well as, you know, regular hot pellets or whatever, you are going to get a hell of a lot of that out of the beer. So a lovely smooth kind of passion fruity quality to this beer. Some juicy mangoes in there. You do get the impression of a little bit of a kind of apricotty papaya undertone to it as well, but also some very nice, there is a bit of a kind of juicy tangerine orange, which will be the mosaic of course as well. It almost smells a little bit as if, when you sugar the beer up a little bit, it almost smells as if some of these kind of farmhousey yeasty qualities are contributing to the fruitiness as well. So it almost gives you the impression of, as I say, it almost seems from the nose that it contributes a little bit to the, you know, a sort of like papaya type flavour. Sort of soft tropical, maybe a soft kind of tropically peach or something like that. Actually, it's kind of interesting, to be honest with you. So you also get a few little complexities out of this one. There is a wee bit of like a lychee kind of gooseberry-ish sort of thing at the front of the nose there. But yeah, I would say the Simcoe, the soft passion fruity notes, and a bit of the orange underneath, those are the two most kind of prominent things for me. But you will notice that the more and more you smell of it, the more you get different tropical fruits out of it as well. But yeah, aroma, this one is very, very nice. Take a bit of time to enjoy that. That's always half the experience with these Apex beers, but we're going to have a taste of this one now and see how we get on. So this one is the Replicant Double IPA, based on an old recipe that they did with Mikkeller for the Mikkeller Beer Club back in 2018, and then given it the double IPA treatment. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one then. Let's get stuck in. Slàinte, skål. Yeah, that's really pretty bloody good actually. So, you know, just going to say well done to Apex once again with this. This one actually does feel quite a bit different from the other ones that I've had. I find this one just to be a little bit more kind of, the malt just feels a little bit lighter. I do wonder if that's the chip malt. I'd never heard of chip malt before I saw it listed in the description of this beer. So yeah, as I say, chip malt is a very lightly malted barley from what I understand. Yeah, it's a lovely, lovely smelling beer, or lovely tasting beer. The brain's not working. But yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful New England double again. And you know, if you know Apex Brewing, this is what you come to expect from these guys. The first impression I have of this is the sort of malty side of the beer feels a little bit lighter and almost a little bit crisper. But everything else about this one really screams, what your kind of typical Apex beer. But I will say this one is really nicely done. And the other double IPAs I had last time, the the culmination, the terminus, and the Asmodeus, they were all very, very nice. But this one just strikes me. I think I just like this one a little bit better. And that's one of the things when it comes to the Apex beers. You're always going to get a good quality IPA. It is a little bit hard to distinguish and say which one would your favourite be, but I would say I think I do like this one better than the ones I reviewed a couple of months back. This is very nicely done. Yeah, lovely stuff. So yeah, let's try and break down the flavour of this one then. So yeah. In the middle third of your palate, that's where you're getting most of the complexity out of this one, so you can feel that nice light kind of white bready base to the beer. It's almost a little bit crisp in some ways, to be honest with you. So you've got that lovely almost kind of pale malty base to the beer. You can feel on top of it there is a slightly thicker sort of wheaty layer to it, but the wheaty notes become a little bit more prominent when you go towards the back of that middle third of your tongue. As you move further towards the front of the middle third and move into the kind of centre, if you like, you do get more of the kind of oaty creaminess in there, and it's almost a little bit sweet actually. But then in the very middle of your palate you've got almost this like little island blob, if you like, and there's a lovely kind of McVitie's digestive biscuit sort of you just got that little McVitie's digestive biscuity kind of island. sort of thing there. And then if you go to the very centre of your palate, it does almost feel that there's a little bit of a kind of caramelly sauce or something like that. So yeah, I like that sort of sweet island that the beer has. That's the Maris Otter that will be giving you that level of sweetness out of this one. And that's the great thing about Maris Otter. I mean, it does have a good bit of breadiness to it, but it's also got a lovely little bit of a kind of biscuity sweetness. So it's a malt that I think works very, very well in the New England IPAs. So yeah, as I say, the middle third of your palate, sort of more kind of pale malty, slightly crisper base. It does get a little bit crisper, if you like, and lighter the further out to the sides you go on the palate. But yeah, so you've got that kind of lighter malty base. On top of it, you've got a thicker kind of wheaty quality. Towards the back of that middle third of your tongue, it's a bit more wheaty and bitey. Towards the front, it's a little bit more oaty and creamy. Then you've got that sitting on top of all of those things. You've got that little sort of oily, biscuity island there, and as you move towards the very centre of that, you've got a little bit more of a kind of straight up sweet caramel. If you go towards the back third of your tongue, you will get a little bit of the kind of more bitey, wheaty qualities out of this beer. Some of the yeastiness, I think, is also sitting towards the back of the tongue as well. You've got a little bit of that kind of doughy. Yeah, it is a little bit kind of farmhousey, as I say, that sort of woody, herbally, slightly doughy kind of yeasty quality there. You can feel that it spreads a little bit further forward from that back third of your tongue into the middle third of your tongue, but it doesn't kind of take over too much. I think the wheat starts to kind of almost battle it a little bit and push it back, but yeah, a little bit the wheaty bitiness on the back third of your tongue as well, and some other kind of graininess, and the main yeasty sort of farmhousey notes are coming out of that as well. The further you go into the aftertaste, I think the wheaty bitiness lingers there, and a few of the kind of complexities, I guess you could say, of the kind of the yeast that they've used in this one are starting to come out there as well, which is quite nice. So yeah, I really like how this one goes together, but definitely the more you drink of this, the more it leans towards the wheaty and oaty side of things rather than the kind of farmhousey side of it. But like I said, the farmhousey notes that you get out of this one are a lot more prominent in the aroma than they are in the flavour, definitely. And the more that I drink of this beer, the more the kind of wheaty aspects of it they almost just like jump up a little bit. But the oats in this one, they feel that they're thickening up as well, and it's got a lovely, as I say, it's got a lovely oaty creaminess to it as you move further forward on that middle third of your tongue. On the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, you've got a lovely little touch of earthiness there. That's the mosaic that will be giving you that. As you move further forward, though, the earthiness does spread forward a little bit, then it quite quickly moves to be a more kind of floral, aromatic side of things. It's almost got a little bit of spiciness to it. Round the very front curve of the palate, it's got a little bit of a lighter kind of sort of grassiness to it, in fairness as well. And I think, in fairness, I think it probably leans a bit more towards that kind of grassy side of things. Yeah, I would say it has got a wee bit of floral note in it towards the aftertaste, but I think, yeah, it does lean towards being a little bit more kind of grassy and things too. But yeah, the front third of your tongue, the front third of your tongue is where it's at on this one. I really like the fruity sides of this beer. So yeah, it's all about the Simcoe. It's got that lovely kind of soft tropical fruit category there, so that tropical fruit flavour, if you like. So yeah, with this one, if you go towards the back of that, you get a nice kind of slight. You do get a little bit of darkness out of the passion fruit in this one. That'll also be coming. It'll be coming both from the Simcoe, but also from the Citra in this one. But as I say, when you move further forward from that, you start to get the lighter, softer passion fruits. You get a bit of mango out of it, which will be from the Citra too, and you might get the impression of there being just a little touch of an apricot-y papaya type thing. But again, that would be very, very minimal. It is that soft mixture of passion, of a softer passion fruit and a juicy mango coming out of this one. But as you reach the front half of that front third of your tongue, the front sixth of your tongue, I guess you could say, you do get the wee bit of the oily orange tangerine note from the from the mosaic in this one, and that lingers there into the aftertaste as well. But you get the bitiness of the wheat coming out a little bit more, you get a few of the stronger passion fruity flavours there, and also a bit of the floral notes. Those are the kind of things that are lingering into the aftertaste with this beer for me. And you start to get a few of the farmhousey notes kind of rearing their head as well at the very back of the palate, so that's a very interesting point about this beer too. But yeah, on the very kind of tip of your tongue, you will get one or two of the little complexities from Citra as well. There is almost just a light touch of a kind of gooseberry sort of thing out of this one, maybe a mix of a sort of gooseberry, very lightly lime character. It does have a wee bit of a citrusy zest to it on the very tip of your palate, and the grassiness, I think, around the front curve of your tongue just has a little bit of a zestiness too. So what I would say about this one is that compared to the other double IPAs that I've had from Apex a couple of months back, this one does have quite a different vibe to it. I find this one, you know, I think this one is a little bit more, it strikes me as being a little bit smoother and a little bit slicker almost, to be honest. But it does feel a little bit, it feels like it's got a little bit of a lighter malt base in a way. I like the way that this one, it almost leans, the Maris Otto that comes out of this one I think is a nice contrast to the other IPAs that I've had from these guys recently, because they seem to focus either a bit more on the wheat or a bit more on the oats, whereas this one does have a little touch of that kind of biscuity, if it's digestive type sweetness to it. The other ones did as well, but I think it's a bit more prominent in this one compared to past offerings, if you like. But yeah, basically the message to take home with this one is it's a beautiful New England double, this one. So if you get the chance to try this, I highly recommend that you do. If you get the chance to try anything from Apex, I think you're not going to be disappointed if you like these New England IPAs. But yeah, another beautiful, beautiful beer, this one. And I think this is one that's definitely struck me a bit more compared to some of the other ones that I've had, and that's not to take anything away from the other beers that I've had. This one, I think, just really strikes me as being, you know, very, very good. In terms of the mouthfeel, then, I would say this one's kind of getting to the top end of mid-bodied, maybe pushing the bottom end of full-bodied. The carbonation's very smooth. This beer does have a good bit of an oily mouthfeel to it. I'd say for the New England category, this one does lean a little bit more towards the oily side of things. There is a bit of creaminess to it as well, and the creaminess I think develops a bit more the further you go into the aftertaste. But yeah, on the IBU side of things, on the bitterness, on the bitterness, this one I think is kind of fairly standard. I'd be surprised if this one's more than 40 IBUs. It's got a lovely juiciness to it, though. It compensates for that definitely with the juiciness, but I think maybe about 40 IBUs for this one. It could, you know, obviously when it's a double IPA, it could usually be a little bit more. Sometimes the New England doubles tend to be about 50 IBUs, but I think about 40 for this one. This one strikes me more as juicy rather than anything else. But yeah, the malt base, like I said, is lovely and smooth. It sweetens up a little bit the further you go into the aftertaste. You've got some of the yeasty notes giving it a little bit of a kind of thicker quality too, but some nice hoppy bitterness, like I said, and some lovely juicy fruity character coming out of this beer as well. But yeah, I really, really like this one, I have to say. As I've said, you will always get a good quality New England IPA or New England double IPA from Apex, but this is just one that I think strikes me a little bit more than some of the other ones have. Bear in mind though, it's been 2 months, as I say, since I've reviewed one of their beers, whereas the last time I reviewed Apex beers it was 5 in quick succession, so it may well just be that I've not had one of their beers for a little while. And you know, obviously your palate is constantly changing over time, but this is one that really has struck me as being a very, very nice beer. So you know, well done to Apex for this. I would highly recommend that you try this beer if you get the chance. I'm curious to see what these guys put out next. I would love for them to do a black IPA and a West Coast IPA. I don't know if that's a reasonable prospect for them in the fairly near future, but yeah, to see these guys who are obviously very talented with the New Englands, to see them do a West Coaster and a black IPA would be a very interesting thing, I think. But yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This one was the Replicant Double IPA, a lovely slightly more biscuity, nice and sort of lighter grassy, and a lovely juicy fruity New England double IPA in my mind. Awesome beer, this one, and I highly highly recommend that you try it. So let's leave it at that. The Replicant Double IPA, 8% ABV from Apex Brewing Company in Nora, a little bit to the north of Örebro, out to the west of Stockholm here in Sweden. Beautiful beer this, and one that I would highly recommend you check out. Check out my social media. Thank you for watching my beer reviews, and as always, comment down below and let me know what your favourite beers are from this brewery and what you thought of this one itself. Thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Slanja, skål, cheers. The Replicant Double IPA from Apex Brewing Company in Nora, Örebro here in Sweden. Skål.